Yeah, I mean, for 5 years before real estate, I had a financial services company. So I was working with all the teachers at the Dallas Independent School District on retirement planning. And I had, to me, it was the best career, the best business in the world because I had a teacher schedule, but 5 times the teacher's income. And it was pretty cool because I really worked about 8 months of the year. So anytime the teachers were off, I mean, I didn't work because I wasn't going to market to them or meet with them because there's no way they're going to talk to me during the summer or during the 2-week Christmas break or a week during Thanksgiving or any 4-day holiday. So I just took that time to really travel the world quite extensively. I went to 24 countries inside of 3 years, leading up until April of 2020, whenever most of the world shut down. And schools shut down, travel shut down, and my world shut down just like everybody else's world. But really, those two industries were affected extremely hard. And so I was left there going, okay, well, what's my next step? Because I had no idea, would schools ever open again? Nobody was interested in investing in retirement at that time. They were all pulling back, or I was getting calls about pulling money from their accounts because they were worried about the financial situation. So the future did not look good there. And I'm not really a person that waits around for anything. So I thought, man, this might be the time to pivot. And so I just took the summer of 2020 where most people probably watch Tiger King, and I decided not to watch Tiger King. And I decided to research and study and figure out what is my next move, because I was also 41 years old. And I was sitting there asking myself, how do you start over without starting over at 41 years old? Because I had done well, and I had savings, so I was able to be patient. And I was sitting there going, okay, but what do I want to do? I mean, like, really, what do I want to do? Because I wasn't going to get a job. And clearly there was just 30 million layoffs at that time as well. So nobody's hiring anyway. So the job is out, and I'm glad, because I didn't want that to be an option anyways. Then what kind of business do you start in the middle of a global shutdown? So it was either I sat there and I watched real estate start to grow, or I could have been a toilet paper salesperson, right? So, the thing, I'm just kidding on that one. But
I was about to say.
That probably is business to start, though, right? Selling masks and toilet paper, right? During
100%.
But, yeah, I mean, so I was sitting there, but at the same time, I didn't want to be a real estate agent. That was not, I had no interest at all whatsoever to be a real estate agent. So that was the one thing that was holding me back, because I got really good friends in real estate and they're very successful. And it's funny, one friend in particular had been trying to get me into real estate for 20 years. He got his license in 2002 and was trying to get me in back then. And I was kind of like, nah, I'm not really interested in being a real estate agent. So we went our separate ways, but we've been friends for the last 20 years. And here he comes back to me, saying, hey, now's the best time to get into real estate. You should really get into real estate. You should think about it. And I was like, yeah, but I don't want to be an agent. So what else could I do instead? And at this point, over the summer of 2020, I invested over $200,000 of my own cash into trying not to be a real estate agent. And so I invested over $160,000 in 2 Amazon stores. This was, I got involved with some people that were offering a done for you type of service. Like, you be the investor, they'll build out the stores, get all the, all the inventory, everything, upload it. You don't have to do it, just invest the money. And I thought, man, that sounds pretty cool. So I invested that. Well, it did well for about 2 or 3 months. Amazon changed everything because of COVID. And so it caused all these logistical problems and nightmares. I got way more involved than I ever wanted to. And ultimately, the team that was supposed to help me on that just fizzled out and left me there at one point to where one of the stores, Amazon, shipped all of the inventory back to my house. And I had literally my whole living room, kitchen, dining area, office was full of this inventory. And and then I bought about $20,000 worth of courses because I thought, let me figure something else out. I knew Amazon, it was supposed to be a long-term play anyways, like maybe a year or two, it was going to be the play. And I was like, okay, I get that, but I need to do something now. So I spent about $20,000 in real estate courses because I thought, you know what, if I'm going to really get into real estate, I'd rather be an investor. I dabbled in investing before. I'd had up to 7 rentals at one time. I'd done several fix and flips, but maybe 1 or 2 a year. It was more like a little side hustle here and there. I wasn't a full-time investor at all whatsoever. But I knew enough just to be a little bit, dangerous, you could say. But at the same time, I knew I didn't know everything. So I thought, well, maybe I'll go through a couple of real estate investment courses, just kind of, get a good foundation, and I'll look at maybe, flip a few homes or, start acquiring rentals again. Mm-hmm. And the funny thing was I sold those 7 rentals in 2019. I thought the market was at a peak and was going to crash back in 2019. So, if I would have held them one more year, I would have probably doubled all of my income. Mm-hmm. But anyways, hindsight, right? And so I started going through these real estate courses, which were great. But at the same time, what I learned is that you've got to cold call, you've got to door knock, you got to develop postcard campaigns, right? You've got to convince people to sell their homes for 50% less. I mean, it's a lot of work, and I get it. And I know people have been successful at doing that, but it was the same reasons why I didn't want to be a real estate agent. So I was sitting there going, okay, well, yeah, I really didn't want to prospect because I'd been in sales for 20 plus years, and I had always prospected. I had always chased after my client, always, just pursued, and that's why I was so good at sales, because I was willing to be the best prospector. And so it was always a numbers game for me. And so I just would work through that. But I was just at a different point in my life where I was saying to myself, that's not what I want to do anymore. And especially at this point in my life, I don't want to start over doing that. So what can I do? And at that time, I started to run out of money because I also bought into this $17,000 mentorship. And what they started to teach me in there was how to build courses. And I didn't have a product or a service really to sell. So I was like learning how to build courses. And I was kind of like, well, this isn't really, for me, because I'm not there yet. I don't have something. And so I was just, I kind of put that on the sideline. So over $200,000 in cash that I and really the way I describe that is I put all my chips on the table. I went all in on trying to figure out how to not be a real estate agent, and none of that worked out. And so around August, September, this was kind of like April through August, around August, I realized I am running out of money, low on reserves. And so I've got to do something. So real estate agent was really starting to look interesting at this point. So I thought, well, if I'm going to be a real estate agent, I wonder if there's a way to attract business. Could you actually attract business? Is there something I could do that would just bring people to me that really wanted to work with me? And I didn't know if that existed or if there was such a thing. I was so used to just always being in the pursuit of business. And so I thought, I don't know, I just got to look around and buy some books. And if I'm going to do that, I figured it was going to be through social media as well. Now, here's the other funny thing is that I had been pretty much anti-social media. So I was always that guy that was kind of like, I like to do things belly to belly, face to face, and meet my clients and just kind of do things on my own. Social is not really social. Nobody's really social on there. But at the same time, you start to see these 20 and 30-year-olds make some money and some serious money off of social. So that's where we're at, and that's the direction we're going, and it's the future as well. So I thought, okay, if I'm going to attract business, my best bet is probably through social. Probably going to be the faster way, although I wasn't expecting like fast results, but I meant faster versus cold calling and sending out postcards, right? Mm-hmm. So I just started to research, and really I looked at like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok first, because that's where most people will tell you to start. They'll say, hey, look, you got to get on Facebook, or not really Facebook, but Instagram and TikTok, right? Those are kind of the two hot topics just because there's a lot of attention and a lot of views, but does that really mean conversions? And so, I wasn't interested in getting views or going viral. I needed to make some money. Mm-hmm. So I started looking at those platforms, and none of them really set well with me as far as my personality. I just didn't see myself fitting into the short form content, I guess you could say. And I just wasn't there. And I was like, I don't know. YouTube was actually my last choice. And the funny thing is I was kind of like, well, let me look into this YouTube thing and see if there's something there. And I bought books. I'm a little old school, so I went on Amazon, of course, and looked up YouTube marketing, and there's 6, 7, 8 books will pop up, and so I bought them all. Most of them were just basic, not really that informative. I mean, I probably pulled a nugget or two, but nothing I was going to go start a business. One book, YouTube Secrets, that one was the one that really kind of got my mind working, because it really does lay out foundations and principles of YouTube. Plus, it really helped me understand that YouTube's a search engine, not a social media platform.
Right.
So that started to pique my interest, and I started thinking, maybe there's something there, because I wasn't a seasoned agent. I wasn't an agent, right? I had no experience. Like, how am I going to get people to work with me? I haven't even sold a home. The thing is I've lived in Dallas for 20 plus years. So I know Dallas. And whenever I started to dig in that a lot more, I started to realize, well, people are researching Dallas, right? They're not really researching on YouTube who's the best real estate agent, who has the most awards, who has the most, homes sold. That's not what they're looking for. They're looking to live in Dallas, Texas, or what's it like to do this in Dallas, Texas, or the schools, or the communities and the neighborhoods, those types of things. So that I thought, well, I know Dallas. I know the areas and the neighborhoods, and I've been around all over the place. So I could talk about that, and maybe I can just make videos about the area. And so that was kind of the plan. And I just started to research and dig into more of that, and really started to think about topics and videos I could make that would be helpful to somebody researching real estate. And one thing led to another. I studied YouTube for about 2 months. And so a lot of people will say, hey, just get started. And I do believe there's some merit in that, of getting started. But at the same time, I'm just like, I think you need a little bit of a plan in place, not for the fact of, analysis paralysis, but you do say, have an understanding. I knew that was my problem before as well, was, those that struggle on social media don't really understand the platform. And if you treat, YouTube like a hobby, it's going to pay you like a hobby. If you treat YouTube like a business, it's going to pay you like a business. And so I just had a different understanding of that. And I thought, if I really want to do YouTube correctly, I need to understand the platform first, and then see if I can apply it to real estate. So I just started to research YouTube as much as possible, dig in, watch as many channels as I could. If there was any other books, I could try to pick those up. And really just watch creators. There's creators that teach just YouTube strategy, right? And so I started to learn that, and learned about search and tags and SEO and titles and thumbnails and all those types of things. And I thought, okay, it started to help me create a visual of what I could do. And so I built out a business plan, basically, of what I should do, for the first 6 months. And then I just started to follow that plan. Had no idea if it was going to work, but so far it worked out pretty good.
Yeah. Wow. Going through all of so it's interesting, like your journey, how you were, would you say that the Amazon stores, the building courses, the fix and flips, that was you trying to figure it out, like figure out your lane?
Yeah, in a way. I mean, again, at 41 years old, when everything stops, I wanted to say, okay, where do I go from here? Because I never grew up like saying, oh, I want to be a firefighter. Like, that's my lifelong, or I want to be a police officer. I think I was very undirected as a kid. My parents never encouraged me to be the best I could be. They didn't, nothing against them, love my parents, but, they never said, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? Well, you should go after that. So I think I just kind of grew up just kind of like, whatever happens, happens. Plus, we grew up in a very small country town. My dad worked at the same factory for 40 years. So nobody there makes much more than minimum wage. And my 2 older brothers kind of followed that same path. And so I just never really had much direction. So I think as I got in, I went into the military first. So to get out of that small town. That was my way out. I was like, well, my parents are broke. I have no money. I'm broke. Nobody's going to do anything for me. So I thought, why not join the military? I'll get some money for college, and maybe that will be my way out. And, whenever I got out of the military, I went back to Dallas, and I was kind of in the same position. And I started working with my buddy. He wasn't my buddy, but he ended up selling me a membership at Bally Total Fitness, and then he hired me. And so that's why I started my sales career. And whenever I got into sales, I loved sales. I didn't really, aspire to be a great gym membership salesperson. I just liked the hustle. I liked the grind of sales. I loved talking to people and selling the product or service. And so I went from gym memberships to, I was about to get into real estate at that time, actually, but then I got deployed because I was still in the reserves. And at that time, then I got deployed. So I was gone for 18 months. Whenever I came home, a friend offered me a job selling cell phones at Costco. So if you've ever been inside Costco and you see that little booth in there, I mean, in 2006, I was selling cell phones right there.
Yeah.
And I became the best cell phone salesperson because I was willing to talk to the most people. There, I got recruited to a pharmaceutical job, and then did that for about 8 years. And then from there is when I lost that job. I lost that job because I got really sick. I became disabled at 33 years old. And I had acquired a digestive disease whenever I was in Iraq. And so it messed with me for about 8 years until 2013. And then I lost 50 pounds in a single month.
Damn.
And then that it made me disabled, bedridden. It nearly killed me at 33 years old. And so I lost the pharmaceutical job because after 90 days, they wanted me to come back to work, and I wasn't physically able to do that. So, and that's whenever I realized, well, I'll probably never have a job again. And so I started looking for the next thing, and I called all my contacts, friends, business contacts, and was like, hey, who's doing what? What are you working on? And somebody said, hey, I know this guy, he's, helping out teachers at schools on retirement planning. And I said, I just started researching and learning about investment more and things like that. I thought, that sounds pretty cool. Retirement planning, that could be a great way to learn investing, help others. And, it's still a sales position. So I've always just kind of followed the path of sales and never really had a, like you said, just a clear understanding of what it was. And so I think that was part of my reluctance too of getting into real estate, because it's something I didn't really see real estate as sales necessarily. It was more like I felt like it was just a bunch of chase people around until they decide to buy a house, and then you open a door and write a contract, right? So I kind of like more of the negotiation, and then let's ink a deal right here, So, but the thing is that I was just ready for something different, and I started to go after the marketing route versus the sales route.
Yeah. That's very interesting. I wasn't planning on taking the podcast in this direction, but if we could take a quick tangent towards the sales route, if there were some like fundamental sales, I would say tactics that you could, give to somebody, what would that be?
Yeah, I mean, I've read a lot of sales books, and that's the thing. As I got into sales, I started. The first person I was ever exposed to was Brian Tracy, and that was, my friend Mike, who got me into gym sales, took me to that event. And I bought all of Brian Tracy's books, bought all of his CDs at that time. CDs, I could put them in my disc changer in my Volkswagen Jetta, and I actually had the 6-disc CD changer in my Jetta. So I was able to put the whole, the whole CD set, because most of the CD sets were 6 CDs, which was pretty cool. That was like so cool back in the day when you could change between your CDs. And, so I studied sales, and I would say the overall frameworks that I learned is, matching and mirroring, especially when you're in a face-to-face environment, belly to belly, matching and mirroring, matching people's tonalities, their gestures, things like that. If they talk slow, I would slow down my pace. If they started talking fast, I could speed up my pace. And so those little subtle changes would create instant rapport. I think maybe that's one of the reasons why I did so well in every sales position, was because I was really good at just matching and mirroring and reading people's body language. And I think, really understanding at the same time, asking the right questions to lead somebody down the path that you want them to go.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you need to ask very specific directional questions and get them to really close themselves. So I've
Yeah.
never had to been this like hardcore, on the spot salesperson. I typically would help people close themselves, and I would just do that through a series of questioning to uncover, the true problems that they were facing or the wants that they had or something like that. So if you can position the right questions in your presentation, the close actually happens during the presentation. It doesn't happen at the end. And
Yeah.
whenever you get to asking for the business, it should be very simple. It should be an easy yes. Somebody should say, yes, I'm ready to do that.
Yeah, yeah, it's exactly what you said. They're closing themselves. I always love picking the brain of salesmen because you guys have not only a fundamental skill set, but the art of it. The art of it is hard to grasp for a lot of people, I believe. And so, yeah, that's really cool. What was the blueprint that you came up with to then start your that marketing engine that first year?
Well, I would say I probably I documented it all in this book right here. Passive
Your
prospecting. I mean,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
that is the blueprint. I would say it's all on scratch pads and Google Docs all spread all over the place. I would say, but it was just a formatted plan. I mean, basically, I wanted to understand, what type of content I should make, how I should position it, when should, how many videos should I do per week, when should I publish those videos, how to title them. Yes, the appropriate tags, the SEO, the optimization, everything that goes with that. So I had an understanding of all of that beforehand and tons of notes, everything that I just had ready to go and just kind of follow that plan. But ultimately, when you get out there, I would just make videos and speak freely because I knew about the areas. Now, some things I might research a little bit ahead of time and I might look up some stats. I mean, I don't know the population of every single area around Dallas, but I could easily look that up, make a few notes and, regurgitate some of that information in my videos. But otherwise, what people are looking for is they're looking for the meat of the information, right? They're looking for experiences and stories and also your interpretation of what it's like to be there. So that's why they're coming to you as the local expert versus the real estate agent expert, right? I mean, a lot of people look at agents as, right, a salesperson or something. Oh, they just want to sell you a house, but they just want to make a commission. But whenever you are providing value up front for free, especially when you're doing that on YouTube, then they can consume as much as they want. And it makes it an easy transition. And this is the easiest way to let people close themselves is through video because they will sit back and watch. And when they're ready, they'll reach out to you. And whenever they reach out to you, they've already likely made the decision that they want to work with you. So whenever I would pick up the phone, they were excited that I answered the phone. They were happy to talk to me. They were already coming with the relationship established. And that just made my life so much easier. And it's something that I'd never experienced in 20 plus years of just people coming in anywhere from 2 to 5 per day. Last year in 2022, we averaged 5.5 leads per day. I mean, can you imagine whatever business you're in that you had 5.5 people coming in saying, hey, I love your content. I'd be happy to work with you. Can you help me find a home? Or can you help me, with my plumbing or my electricity or my roof or my financial services? I mean, you can make content on any business that you have that provides value, and you're going to get people to call you and that'll want to spend money with you.
Yeah. Speaking of the value part, the two things that I hear from real estate agents a lot on why they don't do that is one, they don't know what to post. So regarding like the actual content categories to actually whatever sort of content to put out there, and then two, they're scared to be on camera. And so these scared to be on camera, I think that I actually seen some of the pieces of content that you created regarding that side, but for the agent on the side of they don't know what to post, like what would you advise to that real estate agent or broker?
I mean, you've got to do a little research and see what people are searching in your area. So it's really simple because YouTube and Google tell you what people are searching. And so that's what I used. I used YouTube and Google to understand what neighborhoods are the most searched. Well, if I find out Plano is more searched than Frisco, I'm going to start in Plano and make content around Plano. And it doesn't really probably matter which content. It's just the fact that if you're making it on the most searched area in your city, people are searching that, they're going to find it, and you can make many pieces of content or videos on that area. You just have to be creative, easily as doing community tours, pros and cons videos, map videos, all these things people are interested in because they're researching. And that's the power of YouTube, is that people are on there researching. They're intentional, right? They are looking to make their next move. That's why our contact under contract is such a short time frame, because when people would reach out to us, they are in a 60-day buying window, typically. Yep. On average. That's very fast in real estate to convert somebody that quickly. So yeah, I mean, you'll talk to a lot of teams, a lot of long-term agents, and they'll be more like 6-9 months on average conversion. So, and that's still probably considered pretty good for the industry. And we average less than 2 months on conversion from the first time they reach out to us. We're not even reaching out to these people. It's the first time they reach out to us. So again, they're waiting up until that time when they're about ready to make a move.
Yeah. Because I was going to ask, that was going to be one of the questions that I had, which was, how do you define your conversion rates? Like, how do you, is it like lead to appointment? Is it lead to under contract? Like,
we did under contract, because sometimes we would contract on a new build and that may take 6 months to get finished. So that's not a real representation of what it took to get that deal done, right? So we wanted to look at, hey, when's the first time they reached out to us on text, email, or Zoom? So we recorded all those dates. And then when we got them under contract, that's what we measured that time frame. So that's why we say contact to under contract, because again, we've had some people build custom homes. We actually got one that from the very first year we started, over a year and a half ago, almost 2 years now, they've been building a $1.5 million custom house. So we got them under contract, I think probably within 45 days of meeting, but it's been almost a 2-year build. So if we included that in our stats, it would completely skew everything, right? And it wouldn't sound as good. So
100%.
But the deal is that we got that deal locked in. And then if somebody falls out of contract, we just remove that stat. So, but otherwise, it's something that's very simple and easy to measure, and that's why, and it lets you know how fast people are making moves.
What pieces of content from your living in Dallas do you feel are getting the most engagement, and then what type of clients, or I'm sorry, what type of leads are contacting you? Is it like buyers, investors, sellers?
Yeah, all of the above. So we have buyers, sellers, and investors that reach out to us. And I think the community tours are really probably our most popular, getting out in the neighborhood. I mean, walking around, letting people see it, talking them through what's going on, what's happening, what's the good, what's the bad. How close are you to this place or that place or the airport or downtown? So just kind of painting that picture for them and giving them a visual of what's going on. And then also, sometimes we'll include in there that, hey, this is a new construction area, and that could be good for investors, or, this new construction community allows investors. And in Texas, at least, most new construction communities don't allow investors to buy, right? That you have to buy a single family residence, or, that you're moving into for at least a year. So we got to, if that's the case, we let people. So all these different types of things. If we do find an investor friendly community, anytime you get in early on a new construction community, it usually has built-in appreciation, just even as the community develops, even maybe more so than the market itself. But now, the last 2 years, the market's been pretty skewed because of everything that's gone on. So, you still have to be mindful of that. We'll talk people through that on our videos, and we just try to provide as much information and value as possible.
Are there other metrics that you keep track of that are just just ridiculously outperforming all of the industry standard metrics?
Oh yeah, plenty of them.
Like, go ahead.
Well, they say 80% of the online traffic is mobile, right? And so, if you look in the back end analytics of our YouTube channel, though, 55% of our traffic comes from TV, computer, and tablet. And so that tells me that those are research devices, right? If you're sitting on your couch watching Dallas, Texas real estate videos, you're probably researching. If you're sitting on your desktop computer, you're probably researching. If you're sitting on a tablet, you're probably researching. And so people will say attention spans are dead these days. That's why you're supposed to be this dancing real estate agent on TikTok, if you want to generate business, because nobody's going to watch a video longer than 60 seconds and 30 seconds, if that, and you've only got 3 seconds to hook them. And it's like, no, that's not really the case. Our average view durations so the first time somebody watches our video range between 9.5 to 11.5 minutes. So, in one sitting, they're watching a lot of content up front because they're researching. So that's one. The one I probably really love the most is the watch time. And this proves the concept that people say that time is the most valuable asset. Some will also say that time is a non-renewable resource. So you have to make the most of your time, right? And I don't believe that now. I think time is a renewable resource. And not only can you make time, you can compound time back in your favor. And last year, for example, our channel has watched 104,600 hours, 104,600 hours of watch time. Well, if you divide that by 24 hours in a day, that's equivalent to almost 12 years worth of prospecting. So that's why we call this passive prospecting, because I didn't create 104,000 hours of content. But the channel has watched that amount. But you do the math on that. And if you take the math one step further, and I were to compare it to you prospecting 2 hours per day, which if a real estate agent or any business owner is going to prospect, they usually block 2 to 3 hours. So let's just take 2 hours. If you block 2 hours every single day, 365 days a year, compared to my 104,600 watch hours, that's equivalent to 143 years worth of prospecting. So while you're making phone calls 2 hours every single day, even on weekends, my channel is prospecting 143 years worth in a 1-year time frame.
Yeah.
That's why we're doing the business we're doing, and that's why we're crushing every other new agent or even agents that have been in the business for 5 or 10 or 15 years. I mean, I can't believe it. Blew me away. I had zero metrics of whenever I came into the business, like what is a successful agent, but I did know that most people don't hit $1 million in their first year, like we did. Some agents will never hit that in their whole career. And then all of a sudden we're up here with mega teams. We're talking about some of the biggest teams in the country and the state of Texas. And we're right up there now, like in the top 10. And we're going, holy cow. And that's from a YouTube channel in less than 3 years. So we're competing with the best of the best. We have numbers far greater than people we're in the top 0.1% of real estate already, and we did that with zero ad spend. Zero ad spend, because we work through the algorithm of YouTube and let YouTube find the audience for us.
Yeah, 100%. It's funny that you said that the 55% comes from the TV and tablets, because so I went to the dentist the other day, and up on the screen was a YouTube channel of it was like luxurious homes, like the ridiculous, like $12 million, $15 million homes, but it was someone's YouTube channel.
Yep.
And so, because I intentionally, I was the only one in there. I got the remote and I was looking up who it was. And it was one of those luxury guys, one of their YouTube channels. And so that's crazy. I wouldn't have thought that either. I would have thought just like mobile and desktop was I thought that's what you were originally going to say was desktop. But yeah, that's interesting. The TV and tablets as well. You mentioned paid. Are there any other, because I know that you said, and please correct me if I'm wrong, in your first year you did 33 million in transactional volume just from organic?
Yep, 33.5. Yep.
And then I noticed that the second year it tripled. Was there any other like marketing tactics that you were adding on to that, organic content marketing?
3% interest rates.
That's
Yeah.
what, there you go.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there was no magic. We kept doing what we were doing. Now, clearly, I also want to say that my video content got better, right? And
Mhm.
you know, as I make more videos, my content gets better. I started to understand what my audience was looking for. But yes, in the beginning of 2022, interest rates were 3%. So like everybody was looking to buy a home,
Mm.
and we were the ones getting found because they were researching on YouTube. So that just because we had the content, we put up that work up front, people found us and came to us as the trusted resource. You know, August, September, when those interest rates doubled, the market dried up. Everybody seemed to disappear. Now we still did business, and the YouTube channel carried us through the fourth quarter, where we saw leads definitely go down, but we saw other agents getting out of the business, losing all of their, all of their leads. Just everything dried up for them, as to where we were still able to maintain. And this year alone, we've done right at 40 million in sales with over 7% interest rates this entire year. So yeah, are we a little bit down or off pace from last year? Yes, but the interesting part about this year is our conversion is up. It's
Mm.
3 points higher than last year. So that tells us that the people that are still calling are extremely serious. And you have to be if you're buying in 7+% interest rates, right? So we know we're the best positioned. If rates come down just a little bit, people are going to flood back in the market. Our channel is the most found in Dallas, Texas. If you search Dallas, Texas, we're going to pop up everywhere. So that's the position we want to be in. So as long as we weather this storm and however long this goes on, which we will and we have, where most people are getting out of the business, yeah, we're able to do that because we put in the work and created the content.
You mentioned the conversion rates are 3 points higher than last year. What is it? Like, what are your conversion rates?
This year we're a little over 11.5%.
Dude, and Levi, like that is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like that's it, just because I do like a lot of research on the analytical side of marketing tactics and strategies within the real estate realm. I came across an article on Boomtown that they said when it comes to online marketing, they said that the average industry across the industry, the average conversion rate is 0.4 to 1.2%.
Yep.
And I was like, that's nuts. And so when I read your article on EXP, I was like, dude, that is nuts.
Yep.
Like you're literally 1,100% higher than everybody else.
Yeah, and I think the conversion time for online leads is on average 9 months. So again, when we're contracting under 60 days and the conversion is 11.5, yeah, it's absolutely crazy. So that is. Now, last year we were at 9%, but we had a huge influx of leads, so it was, we didn't, I mean, but still 9% is great. And so, it's crazy.
Yeah. 2% is great. I mean, according to that, according to that study that I found on Boomtown, 2%, 3% is great. I'm reading a book right now called Competitive Advantage by Michael Porter, and he talks a lot about, being the best in an industry is just having superior performance, more so in the profitability realm. And so, like, that's why I ask about that, because I'm like, dude, that's a great example of superior performance. And so, because I'm pretty sure your costs to create your, do all your content marketing, I'm pretty sure. Do you have a team right now that's helping out with a lot of it, or are you still?
Yeah, but in the beginning, it was very simple. I used my iPhone. I had a $20 selfie stick, and I had an editor for $400 a month. So I never edited a video. Yeah. And I knew that was not the best use of my time. Plus, I had no interest in it, and if I probably would have quit if I had to edit my own videos.
100%.
So I budgeted for an editor. I found a very affordable one for $400 a month, and that was great. And that's what I needed. So that was my budget, was a editing budget, not a marketing budget.
100%.
The cool thing though with video though too is that, and I recommend everybody hire an editor, but that's a fixed cost. I know exactly what my editing cost is going to be every month. The problem with marketing is that in real estate, you can spend 2K in a month and it'll be gone. And then next month you're kind of like, well, what do I do now? Let me try 1,000, or do I spend 3,000? You know, did I not spend enough, or did I spend too much? I mean, and then you can be out of money like that, because I mean, people can burn through a marketing budget very fast. And if you don't turn something over, and you typically don't with online leads or paid leads, it's usually a longer. You need some additional funds, right? You need something, and of course, marketing takes time to kick in, regardless.
Yeah, especially in the real estate industry where the buying cycles are so long. I've been doing a lot of digging. I've interviewed some individuals from Better Homes and Garden, from Realogy, from Inman. I've been interviewing these individuals with the intention of doing what what you were doing a couple years ago, to get an understanding of the industry and where the pain points and problems of brokers, agents, and consumers are. One of the big ones that I found is, I believe, so as of right now, it's onboarding of real estate agents. So basically, bring in real estate agents and then getting them to productivity, whatever productivity means. And I don't even know where that is defined at right now. Anyways, I say all that to say that I think marketing is a huge component of fixing that problem. Obviously, bringing in and being able to acquire business as a real estate agent. And so with what you're doing right now, how do you scale it? In my mind, I think about two things. I think about, one, duplicating this in different pockets within your county with real estate agents who are the face, creating multiple Levi's, or having Levi have a team and then he's distributing all of his leads and clients that he's acquiring from his marketing to the team. Am I thinking about that the right way, or how would you go about scaling what you're doing?
Yeah, I got out of production after one house. So that was I sold the first house from the channel, and then after that I gave everything away. So over the last 2.5 years or so, I've basically collected a referral check for every single one of those transactions, over 272 transactions we've done. And I haven't opened a single door.
Nice.
So that's how I scale it.
Yeah. Yeah. So you did
the business away. Yeah.
Yeah. So you did. After starting at the second house, you started scaling it. How can you walk me through that? Did you go like the traditional route of like the $1 Million Real Estate Agent book of like first having I'm assuming your first hire was the editor. Did you go admin next to handle all the paperwork, all the little intricacies of the business, buyer's agent next, listing agent next, or could you walk me through building your team?
It was editor, and then I had an admin assistant as well, not full time but part time, just to help out with stuff. But then it was ultimately Travis, who I ended up partnering with. He became my referral agent, so I started to pass every deal to him, and we started to just work together from there. And so once we felt like we had a good relationship and everything was working out, we partnered up later on down the road. But otherwise, that was it. I had an editor, ops assistant, and a referral agent.
And he handled all the listings and buyers.
Yep, he took over everything. So as soon as I would talk to him, I mean, I answered all the calls in the beginning, and then I would just tell them, whenever you're ready to look at homes, Travis is going to take you around. And every single person was like, okay, cool, and that was it. And so it worked out that I just never had to do it.
Yeah.
And I was never concerned about it, and then whenever the leads became too much for Travis to handle, then we had to bring on another agent, and then another, and it ended up making us scale. We were forced into scaling because we had way too many leads.
Yeah. And I find it interesting how have you ever had, or has Travis mentioned to you like kickback on like, well, I thought we were, dealing with Levi, and if so, like, how do you deal with that?
No, sometimes they'll ask on the phone because I don't answer the phone anymore either. And they may say, hey, can I talk to Levi? And they just say, well, Levi's out filming right now. So how can I help you out? And they'll go, oh, well, or they'll say, my name is Vince. I'm on the team, and I'll be happy to help you out. What can we do for you? And they'll be like, oh, okay, well, if you're on the team, that's cool. And they're just happy to be working with the team, with the brand, with the channel brand. That's what's really amazing about it. So never had any pushback this whole time. Nobody's ever refused to work with us because they're.
Yeah, it seems like it's not a hurdle at all. That's interesting. And now, are you like breaking it up? So, like, are you creating multiple Travises that are representing the listings and buyers, or is now Travis only doing listings and then you have a buyer's agent?
No, I mean we have 10 agents now, so it's
Mhm.
but Travis handles pretty much everything 750, 800 and above. So he just kind of focuses on more of the higher end, and then we distribute the rest of that to the team.
Got it. Does the team do any sort of lead generation themselves, or it's just you let them know, like, hey, set an expectation coming into this, into my company, then you guys aren't going to be doing any lead generation. Everything's already set in stone for marketing.
No,
You guys
I mean, they've got to do some open houses. They've got to talk to their sphere, and I
Mhm.
mean, some simple things like that. I mean, we don't make anybody cold call. That's kind of up to them. So most of them work open houses and sphere.
Yeah, I could imagine. Like, I could imagine how much more business. Do you guys really like optimize the open houses? Like, I can imagine that's like another lead source for you guys.
Yeah.
I'm really looking for the most effective marketing tactic. I know everything works. I know cold calling works. I know, Facebook ads, everything works. In my opinion, content marketing is the most effective marketing tactic that a real estate agent can perform to scale their business, as your prime example of. And so, like, could you provide some sort of either time spent with clients metric, some I'm trying to think, because you already went over your conversion rates are 11% contact to under contract. You're getting them, basically your sales cycle is under 60 days. Is there any other, like I said, and I'm sorry if I'm being redundant, is there any other metric that is like, you know, this metric we could be track of? It's like we're absolutely destroying every other metric from other marketing tactic out there.
I mean, if you look at it from a paid versus free strategy, then if you run any type of online ad that you typically pay per impression.
Mm.
So YouTube has given us for free 34.7 million impressions.
Wow.
So if you paid a penny per impression for that, how much would that even be? Is that 347 or 347? That's what you would have spent on marketing, $347,000.
Yep.
Yep, we got $347,000 worth of marketing for free.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, because like you mentioned, in that first year, if you're just looking at your like marketing spend of the editor, then I mean that you spent $5,000 a year to bring back six figures in commission checks, which is ridiculous.
Seven.
That's seven. Damn, yeah, seven. Sorry, excuse me, Levi. That's cool, man. What do you have going on right now? I know you brought up your passive prospecting book. Do you have a podcast? Do you have where can people find you, listen to you, and engage with you?
Yeah, they need to. They can go to book.passiveprospecting.com if they want to get a copy of the book. So just go to book.passiveprospecting.com. I have a podcast. You can find it on iTunes, Spotify, Apple, all that other good stuff. That's just called Passive Prospecting as well.
Mhm.
And a lot of people love that. And so I do usually 30-minute monologue, and then I do it with a group of people as well. So we include a little bit of Q&A on there, but so a little different style. And I mean, I've got a lot going on. So we run workshops. We just completed over the last 2 days a 2-day virtual workshop where we walked people through this for only $47. We'll be running one of those in October as well, 24th and 25th, 6 hours each day. So it's a lot, but I think it's a pretty good bargain for $47.
Yeah.
And you can definitely plug into that. That is backstage.passiveprospecting.com. We call it the Backstage Pass. So you can go to backstage.passiveprospecting. I believe you can get a ticket there if you want. So other than that, we're working on a lot. We do a lot of free trainings and content, the podcast. And then, something like this, a 2-day event, it was very successful. We had over 530 people on there. Yeah. And had 90% retention through the first 5 hours each day. Just unheard of, so it was really cool. Very big success. So we're going to run that again in October.
Nice, man. Nice. Super cool. And then I'll throw all the links to all of that in our YouTube channel.